And we certainly plan to try for all that great information that you shared with us. And certainly we will use that, and hoping you will use the $59 towards your fees and go visit her. Our next presenter will be Ms. Elmira Reagan. She's here to talk to us about violence against women. Ready? Ms. Reagan will take the book up by herself. Is that her baby?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here with you this morning. I'm Elmira Reagan. I'm the executive director of my sister's house and have been with my sister's house 25 years in June. We were started in 1980 by volunteers that saw a need for our service. We serve Berkeley, Charleston, and Dorchester County. We house in our shelter 400 women and children a year and answer our 2,500 calls on 24-hour crisis line. So our crisis line is shelter for the two key services that we provide, but we also go forth with our clients on a day-to-day basis, as well as our children's program, because unfortunately, children are victims of abuse of tomorrow. So we do assessments of all children and adults that in our shelters. We count an adult therapist and a child therapist that's responsible for those assessments. A full-time children's counselor that works with the children in our shelter, along with providing parenting classes for the mothers that are in our shelter. We, of course, have a volunteer program, and we have 85 volunteers and interns that assist us in what we do, and they are key to our services. We have full-time staff of 10, part-time staff of 10, and of course, based on the fact that we serve 3 counties, volunteers are key to our services. So I just bring volunteer applications for you. They're also on our website as well. In addition to all of the programs that I mentioned, we of course provide food, clothing, transportation, assistance with personal rent, utility deposits, some medical assistance, school uniforms, school books, bags, kind of basically everything that woman will need for herself and her children during the time that she stays at my sister's house. It is a 60-day maximum stay. So it is a very intense program. Sometimes I question whether I can get through the program myself based on the fact that when women come to us, of course, they are in crisis. They are there either because they are physically, emotionally, sexually, and or this is the fourth type of service that we provide. It could be text and or personal things that are important to you that someone is ready to restore. So if someone has said, I'm going to show you a passport, restore wedding pictures, or anything that you hold valuable, that is the fourth type of abuse that we also provide services to. But it is a very intense program in that our ultimate goal is for that woman and her children to live in an environment free from abuse. So she must be actively working toward meeting her goals and objectives, which may be finding housing, getting a job, sometimes moving from our area, going to family court to get custody of her children, maybe even moving back into the place where she came to us from. So she has a lot to accomplish during the time that she's there, as well as sometimes dealing with mental health issues, because many of the clients that we serve already have some kind of mental health diagnosis. So it is important for them to be on medication as well. So we're doing assessments to determine whether or not that woman is stable and able to function, because we all know if we're not physically and mentally well, we're not going to be able to work for our living. So that's kind of key to the services that we provide. So I, of course, am the executive director, and part of my job is writing grants, raising money, making sure that we're able to provide services, as well as overseeing our overall operation. Grants are a big part of our plan. So we are a private nonprofit governed by a board of directors, 15 people that are my officers. Our budget right now is close to $800,000, which is cash money. And then about another $200,000 from in-kind initiatives. The three-county community has been extremely generous to our organization, so I was at the shelter this morning at 7. We had Comcast State of Caring there, 85 of their employees were there, painting rooms, doing the yard, washing our building, and working hard to help us to maintain our 9,500 square foot facility. So I, as the executive director, enjoy the community support that we receive. And of course, many churches support our organization because all of us sitting here know that without God, we can do nothing, and through God, all things are possible. And so as a nonprofit that has been a relatively solvent nonprofit, I am forever thankful that God has continued to give me the strength to do this job and that has kept our organization solid. We do receive federal money. We do have a women's prayer group. It is strictly a voluntary group, but most of our clients do attend. We all know that it takes sometimes something beyond the counseling and all the educational pieces to encourage women to move forward, because no one deserves to be. And as a state where we rank #1 in the nation for the number of women murdered by men, and we have been #1 3 times in 10 years in this state. On average, about 38 women are killed in our state per year due to domestic violence. So even if one woman is killed, that's one woman many. And we know that that woman has children, and her children are affected by domestic violence. So I always say to audiences, we all sometimes think, well, it has nothing to do with me. However, statistics show that 1 in 3 women are surviving of domestic violence. That 1 in 7 men are victims of domestic violence. And today, teenagers are 1 in 4. So we do a lot of work within the school system as well. We try to help young people know that, okay, maybe it's cute for them to text you 24/7 and call us 24/7 and try to keep track of you, but it's really not cute. It is an issue of control, and that's what domestic violence is about, power and control. It's not about love. Because if you love me, you will trust me. You don't need to keep track of me. So, a lot of times people want to know, how do you do a 24/7 job? And I say to people that, of course, I have a passion for the job that I do. I believe in the cause that I work for, but I am a survivor of domestic violence myself. I didn't grow up in an abusive environment. I was a police sergeant at the time. And the person who had abused me was very jealous. And of course, I supervised surrounding the community. And abusers can be very irrational. So he thought I was having an affair with all of the male officers, which would have been a feat in itself. But you can't rationalize the abuse. There is no explaining anything. So someone came to our house on the state who said, we made it up because he was home. I said, you need to get out of my face. And he literally went off and said he was in emergency room. But it was 9 X-rays and not it. I was out of work for a week, and for me to have to explain to my chief why I was out of work was very devastating to me. But God be the glory. I had a very supportive family. I had my degree. I had a job. I was not dependent on the person that abused me. So for many of the women we serve, unfortunately, they are dependent. I don't know what I would do if I was in their shoes with 3, 4, 5 children, not a high school education, totally dependent on that person for place to eat, food, place to live, food to eat, clothes for the children to wear. And so unless you're walking in that person's shoes, it's really hard to just say, she needs to get food, because nobody knows what you can do in their circumstances. So as staff at my sister county, our role continues to be each and every day to empower women to talk to themselves, to help them to understand that no matter what that person says to you, you don't deserve to be abused. You can do without him if needed. Now, I'm not telling anybody I'm advocating divorce, because, if you can work it out, if you can go to counseling, if he's willing to admit he has a problem, wants to work and change, yes, so be it. But until admit you have a problem, you can't change that problem. We all know that. And just finish talking about exercise. Unless we pull away from the table and change what we're eating, we're not going to lose anyway. So we all know that we have to want to make a change. We have to admit what's going on and what we're going to change. And in most cases, most of you, it's not your fault. It's her fault. And if she would just change, have dinner ready, be kids wise, lose weight, whatever the case may be. And usually you can't please that person. So if you correct one thing, that means something else. As churches who are a big supporter of our organization, money is not everything. So when you give any kind of donation to me, that's like money. So if you do drives for us, all of our needed items are on the wish list. So that ranges anywhere from canned goods to positive detergent, cleaning products. Those are things I don't have to buy. Because we clean, we cook every day. So it's always important for me to stress to church group that it's not always about money. And we are, of course, a big asset for education, so we do speak to church groups, we do speak to mission groups, we do speak to whatever various auxiliaries you have within your church. And so don't ever hesitate to call us. We're always ready to participate, share, educate, help to be aware of the issue in our community and always willing to do that. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask questions. I did bring both our volunteer and our organization brochure for you. Questions?
How are you involved with teenagers? I know we're hearing so much now about teenagers being able to do boyfriends, how are you guys involved?
Like I said, we speak at high school, middle school, even some elementary school, and a number of Sunday school classes. So it depends on what age group it is. We do try to bring it down to their level. And we have some male volunteers, so sometimes I've done speech engagements with younger children living by the group, and the male volunteers take boys, and I would take ladies, so we can really talk to them about what's going on in their homes, because children do know what's going on in their homes, even though their mothers may tell us, well, no, they don't know, but they can tell us everything that's happening in their homes. Yes. It is. There are several immediate needs lists and then children's lists, so there are four on the website, which is my sister's house afterward. Yes. Basically, you complete your application, which is also online. You can submit it electronically. Because of the clients we serve and because of the confidentiality of our location, all volunteers have to agree to a SLED check, child abuse registry check, sex offender check. So there's a series of checks that we have to do for all our volunteers. There's also an orientation session that people are invited to as a group, just so you can find out more about the organization to make sure that it is the organization that you want to volunteer for. And then there's the basic volunteer training that all volunteers must complete. If you're interested in other components of volunteering, such as family court advocacy or our children's program, then there's additional training for each of the other components of our volunteer program. Yeah.
I heard you said the leaders in Seattle shelter for 60 days.
Yeah.
After the 60 days, they're not ready to recover themselves.
You know, it's amazing to me that those women that really get in there and get well, our average stay is about 5 weeks. They found a place to live, they found a job, and now those folks that come 30 days, they haven't done anything. And it's probably not. And so our role, we will refer them to not other needs, but really other needs, other homeless. So we go to No, we don't keep track of them. Once again, that's what it says. We cannot, calling someone or something to jeopardize being kicked out on the person. But when she knows, as long as she leaves our shelter appropriately, she can return. And 35% of our time are release time. But she must leave appropriately. So you can't just, you go out there and decide I'm going to go back home. You don't come back so we can close out your file and leave appropriately, then you're probably not going to be able to come back. And we go over all that in the beginning, because we do know it's her choice, and she has to make that decision. And we want to be there for her when she needs our services, but she has to take some responsibility. Yeah. Oh.